President Ibrahim Traoré worked every day for the good of his country, Burkina Faso. He was not in power to enjoy riches. He was not there to show off. He was there to fix what was broken, and he knew many things were broken. The people had suffered for too long. There was war. There was hunger. There was poverty in every corner. Children were sitting on the floor in schools. Some villages had no health centers at all. Farmers worked hard but got nothing in return. The country had been rich in land, strong in people, but poor in leadership. Traoré wanted to change that. He often reminded his ministers and team. This money is not ours. It belongs to the people. Use it well. Every franc had a purpose. Every coin was needed. Burkina Faso could not afford waste or theft. One quiet morning, Traoré sat in his office reading through government updates. He was calm, as always, dressed simply. His desk was full of reports, files, and papers. One small file caught his attention. It had no big heading. Just a few short pages and a note from his budget advisor. He opened it. It was about a government minister who worked on rural development projects, someone responsible for improving lives in villages, building schools, fixing roads, and sending support to farmers. The report said this minister was building a big private mansion just outside the capital city. The mansion had high walls, strong gates, security guards, marble floors, and luxury cars parked inside. Some materials had been brought from other countries. The land it was built on had been bought in cash, no loans, no questions. Traoré sat still for a moment. He knew that minister's salary. It was a government paycheck, enough to live well, but not enough to build a mansion like that. Especially not when the country was struggling and most people were sleeping in mud houses or sharing rooms with 5 children. He frowned. Where did he get the money? He asked quietly. He didn't jump to conclusions. He didn't call the media. That was not his way. Traoré believed in truth, not noise. He believed in proof, not gossip. But he also believed something was wrong. He remembered that same minister had once asked for more money to help schools in the north. Traoré had approved it. He had believed the money would go to building classrooms, buying books, and helping children. Now, many months later, there was still no report of progress. No pictures. No updates. Nothing had been done. But somehow, a mansion was going up, fast and clean. Traoré sat back in his chair. He thought of the children walking 5 kilometers to school. He thought of the mothers waiting in clinics with no medicine. He thought of the dusty roads that never got fixed. He thought of the farmers who kept asking for simple tools and never received any help. Was this where the money had gone? He didn't say a word to the minister. He didn't show anger. Instead, he stood up and walked to the window of his office. Outside, the city was moving, cars, people, markets, children in uniforms. Life was hard, but people still hoped. They trusted him. They believed Traoré would protect them from greedy leaders. That he would not allow corruption. He took a deep breath. Then, he made a call. I want a quiet check on all spending done by the Ministry of Rural Development over the past year, he said. No noise. No leaks. No one must know. Just follow the money. The officer on the other end understood. He replied, yes, sir. Traoré knew it was just the beginning. He needed real proof before he acted. But inside, his heart was heavy. If the money had really been stolen, money for the poor, the farmers, and the children, then it was more than just a crime. It was a betrayal. A betrayal of the people who trusted their government. A betrayal of the country that needed every bit of help. A betrayal of the new future Traoré was trying to build. He turned away from the window, returned to his chair, and picked up a pen. But his mind was far from paperwork. Let them keep building, he thought. Let them think no one is watching. But when the truth comes, it will come with full force. That day, nothing else changed. The city stayed busy. The sun stayed hot. The minister continued building his mansion. But deep inside the presidential palace, something had already shifted. A line had been crossed. And President Ibrahim Traoré was ready to follow the trail, no matter where it led. After President Ibrahim Traoré gave the order, the work began, quietly, carefully, and without a sound to the outside world. The anti-corruption team he trusted moved fast, but with full discipline. No public meetings. No press talks. No gossip. Just work. Their task was simple: follow the money. The president had asked them to investigate the Ministry of Rural Development, especially under the minister who was secretly building a private mansion outside Ouagadougou. That ministry was responsible for important work. They were in charge of building schools, health centers, water wells, and helping rural communities survive. Over the last year, they had received a large budget, approved directly by President Traoré himself. He had trusted that the money would be used to help the people in the villages. But now, he feared something worse: that money meant for the poor had been stolen. The anti-corruption officers began digging. They went through papers, contracts, receipts, and bank records. They checked how much money had been approved, where it was sent, and what was written in reports. It was not easy work. Some documents had been hidden. Some were edited. Some files were missing. But in time, the truth began to appear. Millions of CFA francs, enough to build 10 rural schools and 5 clinics, had been moved into private accounts. Those accounts had no names at first. But after tracing the payments, the team found that one of the accounts was directly connected to a shell company secretly owned by the same minister building the mansion. The company had no real workers, no real office. It existed only on paper, and it had received contracts worth hundreds of millions. These contracts were for school building, water well digging, and clinic construction. But no schools had been built. No clinics opened. No wells dug. The money had disappeared, right into the fake company. And from that company, the money had moved again, this time into construction payments for the minister's private home. The tiles, the trucks, the bricks, the labor, they were all paid from stolen government funds. It was clear, the same public money meant for helping the people had been used to build a mansion for one man. When President Ibrahim Traoré saw the final report confirming the minister had stolen millions of francs from the people, he didn't delay. He didn't go to the press. He didn't call a public event. He didn't need applause. He simply acted. The very next morning, while the minister was still enjoying breakfast in his half-completed mansion, Traoré signed an executive order. It removed the minister from office immediately. No ceremony. No warning. By the time the minister reached his office, the door was sealed and the security escort was gone. He had already lost everything. Then Traoré did something unexpected. He sent a quiet message to the anti-corruption team. Seal the mansion. Take full inventory. Nothing should be removed. Not even a spoon. Government officers arrived at the mansion with quiet precision. No media. No noise. They walked through the marble floors, counted the furniture, the electronics, even the vehicles parked in the compound. They placed government seals on every room. The minister tried to call friends in high places. He called former colleagues. No one picked up. The order had come directly from the top, and no one was willing to fight against will. A few hours later, the presidency released a short official statement to civil servants, not the public. It said, "Public funds are not for private life. Those who take from the people will return it, by force, if needed." That single message spread like wildfire inside government circles. People began whispering in offices, deleting suspicious files, or quietly resigning from risky contracts. They knew Traoré was serious. He wasn't playing politics. He wasn't looking for TV praise. He was here to clean the system from the inside out. Traoré then called for a closed-door cabinet meeting. Only top-level ministers were invited. There were no journalists, no cameras, just leaders, face to face. He entered the room quietly. Everyone stood. He didn't smile. He didn't greet anyone. He placed the thick corruption file on the table and said, "This is the cost of betrayal. I trusted one of you with the people's money. He used it to build walls. Now I will use it to build opportunity." He paused, then added, "I will not name him. The system will do that. But let this be clear, no one in this room is untouchable." Silence filled the room. Some ministers avoided his eyes. Others sat upright, stiff with fear. Traoré wasn't trying to scare them. He was trying to reset the culture of leadership. The age of comfort was over. It was time for work. Honest work. After the meeting, Traoré gave one final order regarding the mansion. Turn it into something that benefits the people. Quickly. Let them see the difference. Within a week, the luxury mansion was transformed into a public youth center. No long process. No delays. Painters came in and changed the colors. Carpenters removed private offices and built computer labs. Local workers were hired to set up classrooms and training halls. The same bedroom where the minister had planned to sleep in luxury was now a library filled with donated books and computers. The swimming pool? It was drained and turned into a clean space for agricultural training, where young people would learn modern farming techniques. One mother who lived near the area said, "I never thought my son would walk into that house. Now, he goes every day to learn carpentry. This is a blessing." Traoré didn't attend any ribbon cutting. He didn't take credit. He simply sent word to continue expanding the program, more youth centers, more skill hubs, more real work. The message was simple. What they stole will now serve. Word spread across the country. In villages, people were talking again. In cities, youths began sharing the story on their phones. No government ad could have done more. The people themselves became the messengers. Ministers, governors, and directors across the nation now lived differently. Some cancelled their home construction projects. Others stopped demanding unofficial fees from contractors. Even junior officers in local offices started asking questions when they saw large budgets missing explanations. They had seen what happened to the mansion man. Traoré didn't speak much about the case again. He had no need to repeat the lesson. His actions had done the teaching. But behind the scenes, he was not done. He strengthened the anti-corruption unit. He increased the number of random checks on government accounts. He made it easier for people to report theft quietly, without fear. At one point, one of his closest advisors said, "Captain, many powerful men are growing nervous. Maybe we should slow down." Traoré shook his head. They should be nervous. That means it's working. He believed deeply that justice was not a one-time thing. It had to be a culture. A new habit. A new heartbeat of leadership. Not just punishment, but prevention. He wanted every minister to think twice before signing a contract. He wanted every director to look at a budget and ask, "Will this truly help the people?" And most of all, he wanted the poor to feel that they had someone in power who feared God and feared justice. The fall of one corrupt minister would not fix the whole system. But it was a beginning. A strong one. And as the youth center began holding its first classes, carpentry, tailoring, computer basics, Traoré smiled quietly in his office. Not because the problem was solved, but because hope had been restored. He whispered to himself, "This is how we fight, by turning their greed into our strength." And with that, he returned to work. No rest. No celebration. Just duty.